Well, hello everybody. If you watched our two videos of the National Convention up in Pendleton, Oregon, then you know that our fan decided to break apart on Wednesday of that week. And while we were able to get the car back together the same day, about 10:30 that night, thanks to the fantastic work of Western Radiator in Pendleton, we kind of threw the car together quickly. I didn't get it back together exactly the way I would prefer to have it back together. We used a fan that we got off of a donor engine. The parts supplier had taken in a donor motor for someone that purchased a rebuilt motor from him at the convention. So we took the fan off of the donor motor. And while it's functional, it's pretty beat up. It doesn't have a coat of paint on it and it doesn't look very good. The repairs on the radiator also didn't get a chance to be painted, so we want to clean all that up. I do have a much nicer fan. It's powder coated, and I've white tipped the edges of it so I can see where the fan is when it's spinning. So we're going to take the time today to put this new fan on our water pump, take the radiator out, and paint up all the repairs so that it all looks a lot better, and just make the engine compartment look as fresh as I'd like it to be. So we are going to replace our replacement fan. So come along for this repair ride if you're interested, and I'll show you how to replace the fan on a Model A water pump. Okay, the first thing we need to do is drain the radiator. That'll take just a few minutes. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen the rods that connect the top of the radiator to the firewall so we can get the hood removed. Getting the hood off the car will be a lot simpler if I get rid of the hood ornament first. So let's get this coil taken off. We'll use a 3/16 inch Allen wrench. Remove these two things that hold it in place here. There we go, one coil removed. Okay, the next thing we need to do is loosen the clamp that holds the upper radiator hose on. Okay, we get the two firewall rods out of the grooves there. Then we can gently move the radiator forward enough that we can get the hood out of the socket there, and then we can remove the hood. Okay, the next step is to get the radiator shell off, but of course before we can do that we've got to pull all the wiring back through these grommets. So we've got to disconnect the headlights. Now on my car, because the frame is all powder coated, I've run extra ground wires to my headlights. So it's going to be a little bit more work to disconnect the headlights because I've got to crawl underneath the car and disconnect this extra ground wire that I have right here. Okay, to remove the horn wires, you just remove this screw here that holds the back plate of the horn on. Remove the cover, and then you can just simply pull the two wires out of the bottom of the horn. Just like that. Okay, now that we've got all the wires and conduit out of the radiator shell, we've got to remove these screws. There's one here and one down here on both sides. So there's 4 of them that hold the radiator shell in place. You're going to need a real short screwdriver to get the lower ones because you don't have a whole lot of room between the shell and the fender. So get yourself a nice short-handled, broad-tip screwdriver. Now what's handy is if you use the original square nuts, the channel of the frame there holds that nut in place, so you don't have to worry about the nut turning on you on the back side. Okay, once you have those 4 bolts removed, it's just a matter of simply carefully pulling this up. I want to make sure you don't catch any of the fins in the radiator. Now normally I would have a stone guard in front of this that would need to come off. I removed the stone guard in Pendleton when I first replaced the broken fan, and knowing that I was not going to keep this fan long term, I did not replace the stone guard. But when we put it all back together, you'll see that I'll put the stone guard back on. But with those 4 bolts removed, this will come straight up. Just be real careful that you don't catch any of the fins. Voila! Okay, we undid the top radiator hose. Now we got to undo these bottom clamps so we can pull the radiator out of it once we get the bolts that hold the radiator in place off. So just need to loosen these bottom hose clamps. Should only have to do the front one, I hope. I'll have to see if I got to do the bottom one, the second one too, but we'll see if we can get that out of there with just doing the front one to start with. Okay, the only thing holding the radiator on now are the 2 castle nuts. There's one on each side. You got to pull the cotter pin and then just loosen that nut and drop the bolt down. Probably have to crawl underneath the car to get that castle nut off and crank it from the bottom, depending on how tight they are. Hopefully, since these just came off a couple weeks ago, I can just do it from the top side, but usually you end up crawling underneath the car and putting a socket on the bolt head and holding the castle nut on the top side. Let's see if we can do it all from one side. That would make it a lot easier. Okay, the castle nut is a 9/16, and hopefully I can get this all the way off without having to hold the bolt on the bottom. So far, so good. Okay, I did end up loosening this clamp on the upper part of the hose so that I could pull this whole assembly backwards so that I could clear the bottom of the radiator. Okay, now we just need to lift the radiator out. You will have to turn it a little sideways because the tabs are underneath the front fender, so you got to carefully turn it sideways to get those tabs out from underneath the fenders. On one side, there we go. And just be real careful you don't catch the fins on the bolts that hold your license plate and the firewall rods. You want to not ding up your fins, so be careful. Okay, here you can see the replacement fan that we put on the car back in Pendleton. Perfectly functional, just not very pretty. Got lots of scratches in the paint and whatnot. So I'm going to put the powder-coated one on that I have. Just because I happen to have it, might as well make the car look better. Here you can see the repair work that the radiator shop did for me in Pendleton. We did have a hole punched under here. I didn't see it until I actually had the radiator out of the car. But the broken fan blade hit here first and then ricocheted over here. So it punched a hole here and then it damaged this fill neck. The radiator shop actually removed the entire fill neck, which was a good thing because they found a couple of cracks behind it. and then put on a new neck and soldered it all up, including the cracks that were behind it. So they did a great job for us. I just want to paint this all up so it looks fresh and as good as it can be, even though it does have a sizable dent in the tank. That's just a war wound. Lets us tell stories, right? This is the original neck right here. You can see the fan blade hit it pretty hard and put a hell of a dink in it. It was actually about more than half the tube was closed off. We pried it open hoping we might be able to save it, and then we saw the hole in the tank and realized it had to go to the radiator shop no matter what. Okay, as long as we got the radiator off the car, we might as well give it a nice fresh coat of paint and make her look pretty. Before we can remove the actual fan, we're going to need to loosen up the fan belt. So we can do that here at the alternator bracket. Loosen that up. And there you go, one fan belt removed. Now to get the fan itself off, we got to remove the cotter pin. And to get the nut off, you use an 11/16 inch wrench. Now I'm hopeful this fan comes off really easy since it's only been on there a couple of weeks. I had to really beat the daylights out of the damaged one because it had been on there for over 20 years. So hopefully this one, we can persuade this one to come off without too much work. Okay, that did not come off easy, even though it has been on the car less than a month. I had to use that puller to get it to come off, and it took a lot of torque on it to pull it off there, so not sure why it was stuck on there so well, but tear down complete. We can start putting things back together now. We got the fan on and nut and a new cotter pin. Now it's time to put the fan belt back on. Okay, we're going to put the radiator back in. Don't forget to put the little rubber pads underneath the radiators. They go right over the bolt hole. A bit of a challenge to get the radiator in there and not have those move on you, but don't forget to put those in. Okay, we've gone ahead and attached the lower hoses. Gotten those all tightened up. I'll have to check those later, make sure they're not leaking. We won't actually finalize the upper hose until we actually get the hood on, because we'll have to move the radiator out slightly in order to get the hood into the contact points there. So we'll leave that one as is for now. Time to put the shell back on. Okay, let's get these headlight wires back in their conduits. And I've got this extra ground wire that I've got to run through here first. Okay, to get your headlight wires back in the right position, you've got these little plastic plugs. And if you look really, really close, you'll see there's a tiny little R, a G, and a Y. It stands for red, green, and yellow. And those colors correspond to the stripe in the wires that you have. You have red ones and yellow ones and green ones, depending on what kind of headlights you have. And then also, there is a groove that's cut into this little plastic block, and there's a little metal indentation in the socket, and that indentation will go in that groove, which orients the wires in the correct position. So, not one of Ford's better ideas, but if you get it right, it does work. So put the wire with the red stripe in where the R is, and the green one where the G is, and the yellow one, if you happen to have it, in that spot, and then line up the groove so that it goes around the little indent in the back of the socket. And if you get it all right, everything should work. Well, I'm very happy the headlights work on the first try. That's always a win. Well, as long as we have the horn cover off, we might as well give it a little shot of lubricant. There's two little felt washers on the end of the armature. Give a little oil on those felt pads and it'll slowly release the oil onto the shaft. Okay, it's time to put the hood back on. You'll notice I put a thin piece of plywood in front of the radiator, and that's because I've got to pull the radiator forward to get the hood to go into the little holes that hold it in place. And I want to make sure I don't drive the license plate bolts into the radiator. I forgot we still got to tighten up that upper radiator hose. Forgot about that. Now that the hood's in place and the top of the tank's in its proper position, we can tighten that up. Okay, then we put these little clamps on in the conduit holes, and that should have her on there. Okay, I need to make a run down to the local auto parts store to get some coolant to refill the radiator, but other than topping off the radiator, she's back together. Appreciate you coming along on this little repair adventure. We'll see you out on the road. Thanks for watching.